On a faraway planet called Xerophon, there lived a young woman named Lyra. She wasn't just anyone. She was the Heiress, the future ruler of the whole planet. Her mother was the Empress, a powerful and respected leader known across many star systems. People on Xerophon worshipped the royal family. They lived in shining towers, used the most advanced technology, and had everything they could wish for. And yet, Lyra felt like something was missing in her life. From the day she was born, Lyra was treated like a treasure. Her clothes were made of special materials that changed color with her mood. She could fly anywhere in seconds. Her meals were prepared by the galaxy's best chefs. Her teachers were the wisest beings in the Empire. Everyone wanted to be close to her. But no one really knew her. At first, she thought it was just her imagination. After all, she had more than most people ever would. But as she grew older, the feeling grew stronger. Even during the grandest celebrations where thousands danced in her honor, she felt strangely alone. Even when artists wrote songs about her beauty and intelligence, she felt nothing. Even when she traveled to beautiful planets, filled with glowing oceans and floating mountains, she would smile on the outside, but inside she was still searching for something. Lyra had many suitors, princes from nearby planets, leaders of advanced colonies, and even starship captains came to impress her. They gave her rare jewels, promises of love, and stories of their brave adventures. But none of them truly moved her heart. They looked at her like she was a prize, not a person. She tried to ignore the emptiness. She took up music, art, and even space racing. She mastered them all quickly, but nothing brought her lasting joy. One evening, after yet another royal event, Lyra sat alone on her balcony, looking up at the stars. She whispered to herself, "Why do I feel so empty?" The stars didn't answer, but her heart did. A quiet thought came to her. Maybe what you're looking for isn't here at all. The next morning, something unusual happened during a royal council meeting. An ambassador mentioned a small planet on the edge of their charts, Earth. He called it primitive, a place where people still used emotions to guide their decisions. Lyra perked up. She had never heard much about Earth. Most on Xerophon thought of it as a simple world with limited technology. But the ambassador continued, saying, "What they lack in machines, they make up for in raw feeling. Their connections are messy, but real." Lyra couldn't stop thinking about those words. Raw feeling, real connections. Later that night, she searched the royal archives and found old recordings from Earth, videos of people laughing, crying, hugging, shouting, singing. It was all so loud, so full of energy, so imperfect, but it moved her in a way she couldn't explain. She made a decision. She contacted an old friend, Mira, a loyal servant who once helped her sneak out of the palace when she was a child. Lyra told her everything. "I need to go to Earth. I need to feel something real, even if just once." Mira was shocked. "But you're the heir to the throne. If the Empress finds out—" Lyra placed her hand gently on Mira's shoulder. "Please, just this once, help me." With Mira's help, Lyra prepared a disguise. She would use a special shape-shifting bracelet to appear human. She learned the basics of Earth languages and customs. Then, late one night, she boarded a small, personal craft and left without a word. The journey took a few hours by her ship's speed. As she approached Earth, Lyra's heart pounded, not from fear but from something new. Excitement. Real, unfiltered excitement. She didn't know what she would find. She didn't know how humans would treat her. But she didn't care. For once, she was doing something not because it was expected, but because it felt right. Her ship landed, near a quiet town, small houses, green trees, and people walking slowly. Everything was peaceful, simple, and quiet. She stepped out, her bracelet changing her appearance into that of an ordinary young human woman. She wore plain clothes, felt the air on her skin, and walked into the town with no guards, no cameras, and no one watching her. And just like that, Lyra, the most important young woman on Xerophon, was a stranger on a planet where no one knew her name. She looked around. Children were playing with a ball. A man was sweeping the front of a small shop. A woman sat on a bench feeding birds. Everything looked so normal, so quiet, so peaceful. She breathed in and smiled. It didn't matter that no one recognized her. In fact, that was the best part. For the first time in her life, she wasn't the heiress. She was just Lyra, and she was ready to begin her journey. Lyra walked through the small town with careful steps. Everything was new to her. Different sounds, different smells, and different feelings in the air. People didn't rush. They smiled at each other. Some waved at her, even though they didn't know her. She had never seen this kind of warmth before. On her home planet, people bowed and followed orders. Here, people acted free. She passed a bakery and smelled something sweet. Curious, she stepped inside. A kind old woman stood behind the counter and said, "Good morning, dear. First time." "Here!" Lyra nodded with a smile, pretending to be shy. The woman gave her a warm look and handed her a small pastry. "Try this. It's on the house." Lyra took a bite. The taste was simple, but wonderful. She felt joy over something so small. Back home, food was full of chemicals to boost energy or improve health, but it never made her feel this way. She walked on, tasting life as if it were new. She didn't know where she was going, but it didn't matter. For once, she wasn't being followed or watched. She could be anyone she wanted. Then she saw him. A young man was painting a wall outside a bookstore. He wore old jeans and had a paintbrush in one hand and a cloth in the other. His hair was a bit messy, and his hands had paint on them. But his face was calm, focused. He wasn't rich or powerful, but something about the way he worked caught her attention. Lyra stood there, watching without realizing. The man turned around and smiled. "You like art?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes, it's beautiful." Her voice came out soft. He laughed lightly. "This one's not even finished, but thanks." "What is it supposed to be?" she asked, pointing at the half-done painting. He wiped his hands and came closer. "It's a dream I had, a sky full of stars, but they're not just stars. Each one is a person, glowing in their own way." Lyra stared at the wall. She had seen real stars up close, but she had never heard someone describe them like that. To her, stars were just burning lights in space, but to him, they were symbols of hope and people. "I've never heard that before," she said. He chuckled. "I guess I see things a little differently. I'm Jamie, by the way." "Lyra," she replied. Jamie nodded. "Nice to meet you, Lyra." From that moment, something began. Lyra didn't fully understand it, but she felt drawn to him. He was simple but thoughtful. He didn't ask where she came from. He didn't try to impress her. He treated her like an equal. That was rare. They talked a bit more, and Jamie invited her to come inside the bookstore. "It's not much, but I work here part-time. It's peaceful." The inside of the bookstore smelled like old paper and wood. Shelves were full of books, some new, some torn, all loved. Jamie showed her around. "People here still love to read stories," he said, "even though everything's online these days." Lyra picked up a small book with a painted cover. "Do you read these often?" "All the time," Jamie said. "Stories help me understand people." Lyra thought about that. On Xerophon, knowledge was taught through data chips and screens. Stories were considered slow and emotional, too old-fashioned. But here, stories were alive. They helped people feel. Jamie noticed her interest and smiled. "You want to borrow that one? You can take it, no charge." Lara took the book carefully, as if it were a gift. Thank you. Over the next few days, Lara kept returning. She would walk around the town, try new foods, and listen to people talk about their simple lives. Then she'd stop by the bookstore and spend time with Jamie. They would talk for hours about small things, like why people paint, why they cry, or how music can make someone remember a feeling. Lara found herself laughing more, smiling more. Sometimes she would watch Jamie paint and just enjoy the silence. It was the first time silence didn't feel lonely. One evening, they sat outside the bookstore, watching the sunset. The sky turned orange and pink. Lara had seen better skies on other planets, but this one felt special because she wasn't alone. Jamie turned to her. "You're different, you know." Her heart skipped a beat. "Different how?" "You notice things other people ignore, like how the wind moves or how people feel. You listen. It's rare." Lara looked away, unsure what to say. She wasn't used to real compliments. Back home, people praised her because of her title, not because of who she was. Jamie continued, "I don't know where you're from, but I'm glad you're here." Lara smiled softly. "I'm glad, too." That night, as she sat in the small room she had rented, Lara looked at herself in the mirror. She still wore her disguise, still looked human, but inside something was changing. She wasn't just visiting Earth anymore. She was becoming part of it. Her heart, which once felt hollow, now carried warmth. Her days had meaning. And the reason was simple. She had met someone who saw her as a person, not a title. Someone who didn't expect her to be perfect. She didn't know what the future held, but she knew one thing for sure. For the first time in her life, Lara didn't want to leave. Each day on Earth brought Lara a new experience. Some were small, like the joy of holding a warm drink on a cold morning. Others were deeper, like the feeling of being seen and heard. Lara, who had once floated through a perfect but empty life, now found meaning in the simple things. She and Jamie grew closer. He didn't know her real identity, but he knew her heart. They spent long hours talking about life, dreams, and memories. Jamie was honest, thoughtful, and full of wonder. He didn't care about wealth or status. He cared about people, their feelings, their pain, their happiness. That touched Lara in a way no prince or suitor ever had, but with those feelings came something new, something she couldn't quite understand. One afternoon, they visited a small local art show. Paintings filled the room, each one different, each one telling its own story. Jamie showed her his newest piece. It was a picture of two figures standing under a night sky, one human, one glowing with stars, like an alien being. Lara stared at it for a long time. Jamie noticed and said quietly, "I've been dreaming about someone I don't fully understand. Someone from far away but who feels close." Lara's heart beat faster. She looked at him, unsure what to say. Did he somehow know? Or was it just a strange coincidence? She said softly, "Sometimes we connect with people even if they're different." He smiled. Exactly. That night she found herself lying awake, staring at the ceiling. Her emotions were all mixed up. She had never felt this way before. Not on Xerophon, not during all her royal meetings or grand ceremonies. What was this feeling? Her chest felt tight, but not in a bad way. It was like something warm was growing inside her. She began to notice little things. When Jamie smiled, her heart fluttered. When he laughed, she wanted to laugh too. And when he talked about his dreams, she listened like every word mattered. But one day, a new feeling entered her heart. Fear. Jamie was sitting with another girl outside the bookstore. They were laughing together. The girl touched Jamie's arm and smiled brightly. Lara had never felt jealous before, But now, something sharp twisted inside her chest. She turned away quickly, confused. "Why does this hurt?" she asked herself later, standing by the river alone. "Why do I care so much?" On Xerophon, emotions were controlled. People learned to manage feelings with science. But here on Earth, feelings were wild and free. And now, Lara was feeling them all: joy, sadness, jealousy, hope. The next day, Jamie found her sitting alone at the park. He sat beside her quietly. "You okay?" he asked. She hesitated. I'm not sure." Looked at her kindly. "You've been different lately. Quiet. If something's wrong, you can tell me." Lara wanted to tell him everything. About who she really was, where she came from, why she was here. But something stopped her. Would he believe her? Would he think she was lying? Worse, would he be afraid of her? "I've never felt this way before," she said instead. "I don't know how to explain it." Jamie looked at her, his eyes soft. Feelings are confusing sometimes, but that's what makes them real. She looked down. "I'm afraid." "Of what?" "That if I feel too much, I'll have to leave." Jamie paused, then said, "Sometimes feelings are hard, but not feeling at all. That's even harder." His words stayed with her. Over the next few days, Lara tried to act normal, but her heart was full of questions. Could she stay on Earth forever? What if her mother found out where she was? What if the royal guards came for her? She looked up at the stars at night, wondering if her people were searching for her. And they were. On Xerophon, the Empress was, growing restless. Lara had been gone too long. Hidden satellites picked up traces of her ship near Earth. A royal tracker was sent to find her. One evening, as Lara walked to the bookstore, she felt a strange presence. Someone was watching her. She turned quickly but saw nothing. Still, her heart knew they had found her. That night, she received a secret signal on the bracelet she had used to change her form. A tiny blue light blinked, a royal alert. Time was running out. She rushed to her room and activated a secure channel. Mira appeared on the small screen, her face tense. "They know," Mira whispered. "The Empress is angry. She's sending a retrieval team. They'll arrive in 2 days." Lara felt her world spinning. She looked at the book Jamie had given her. She looked at the small painting he had made of them. And then she thought of his smile, his kindness, and the way he had changed her. She didn't want to leave. Not now. Not ever. But if she stayed, she would be disobeying royal law. If she returned, she would lose the only real connection she had ever felt. That night, Lara cried for the first time in her life. Real human tears, and she finally understood. She wasn't just confused or curious anymore. She was in love, and it terrified her. Lara knew her peaceful time on Earth was coming to an end. She couldn't sleep that night. Her thoughts were heavy. She stood near the window, looking up at the stars. Somewhere beyond them, her mother, the Empress, was watching, and now she had sent guards to bring her home. Lara was torn. She had found something real on Earth, something she had never known before. But her duty called her back. She was the heiress of Xerophon, the future ruler of an entire planet. Her people expected her to lead, to represent them, to be perfect. But all she wanted was to stay. The next morning, she walked to the bookstore slowly. Jamie was already there, cleaning the front window and humming a quiet tune. He smiled when he saw her. "Morning, Star Girl," he joked. It was a nickname he had given her after she once said she liked watching the stars. She smiled, but her heart felt heavy. "Jamie," she said, trying to sound normal, "can we talk?" He nodded and put the cloth down. "Sure. Let's go somewhere quiet." They walked to the same park bench they had sat on many times before. The trees were full of soft green leaves, and the breeze was cool. Lara sat down and took a deep breath. "There's something I need to tell you," she said. Jamie looked, concerned. "Okay. I haven't been honest," she said. "Not because I didn't trust you, but because I didn't know how." He stayed silent, waiting patiently. "I'm not from here," she continued. "Not from this town. Not even from this planet." Jamie blinked. He didn't laugh or smile. He just looked at her, trying to understand. "I'm from a planet called Xerophon," she said. "My real name is Lara Veyron, heiress of the royal house. My mother is the empress of our people." There was a long pause. Jamie leaned back slowly. "You're an alien?" She nodded. "Yes, I came to Earth because I felt empty inside. I wanted to understand what was missing from my life. And when I met you, I started to feel something real. I didn't expect it. I didn't plan it. But now I don't want to leave." Jamie rubbed the back of his neck. "This is a lot." "I know," she said softly. "I understand if you don't believe me." "I don't know what to say," Jamie admitted. "But somehow it makes sense. You've always seemed different, not in a bad way, just special." Lara felt tears in her eyes. "Jamie, my people are coming to take me back. I don't know what will happen next." He looked down. "So, this is goodbye?" "I don't want it to be," she said quickly, "but I may not have a choice." Jamie was quiet for a long time. Then he looked at her with a serious expression. "Do you love me?" Lara's heart stopped. No one had ever asked her that before. She nodded slowly. "Yes, I do." Jamie reached for her hand. "Then don't go." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "If I stay, I could lose everything. My title, my people, my future." He squeezed her, hand gently. "And if you leave, you'll lose what makes you feel alive." The wind blew gently through the trees, and for a moment everything was still. Then a flash of light filled the sky. Lara looked up and saw it, a royal starship, small but powerful, descending behind the hills. Her heart sank. "They're here," she whispered. Jamie stood up. "What happens now?" "I have to go," she said, standing beside him. "They will take me to speak to the Empress." "Will I see you again?" Lara didn't answer. She didn't know. As the sun set, she followed the glowing trail left by the ship. Jamie watched her go, his heart heavy. Deep in the woods, the ship waited. The guards stood outside, dressed in silver armor. One of them stepped forward and bowed. "Princess Lara, the Empress wishes to speak with you." Inside the ship, a glowing screen showed her mother's face, calm, serious, powerful. "You left without permission," the Empress said. "You abandoned your duties." "I was lost," Lara replied. "I needed to find what was missing." "And did you find it?" her mother asked. "Yes," Lara said firmly. "I found truth. I found connection. I found someone who made me feel alive." The Empress's eyes narrowed. "A human?" "Yes. You are the future of Xerophon. Your feelings cannot come before your duty." Lara took a deep breath. "Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we've forgotten that feelings are part of what make a leader strong." The Empress was silent. "I will return to Xerophon," Lara said, "but only if I can come back to Earth and bring Jamie with me." "You would share your life with a human?" the Empress asked. "Yes," Lara answered. "Because for the first time, I understand what it means to be more than a title." The screen went dark. For a moment, Lara feared the worst. Then, the ship's door opened, You are free to choose, the lead guard said. The Empress will not stop you. Lyra ran. Back at the town, Jamie sat on the bookstore steps, staring at the stars. Suddenly, he heard footsteps, and there she was running toward him, breathless, eyes shining. You came back, he said, standing up. I had to, she said. They stood there under the night sky, two hearts from different worlds, finally choosing each other, and in that moment nothing else mattered. After returning to Earth, Lyra felt a new strength inside her. She was no longer just the alien heiress who had left her home planet. She was someone who had chosen a different path, one filled with love, hope, and understanding. At first, the people of Xerophon found her choice strange. Many could not understand why their future ruler would want to stay on a distant, simple planet with a human by her side. The idea shocked them. But Lyra was firm. She knew that true power did not come from titles or riches. It came from the heart. Jamie was amazed to be accepted by the alien royal court. The people of Xerophon had never met a human before. They were curious, cautious, and sometimes scared. But Jamie showed kindness, patience, and respect. Slowly, they began to see him not as a stranger, but as a friend. Lyra and Jamie worked together to build bridges between their two worlds. They shared stories, music, and traditions. They helped the Xerophons learn about human emotions, how love, sadness, joy, and even failure made life beautiful and real. And they taught the humans about the wonders of space and the advanced knowledge of Xerophon. But it wasn't always easy. There were challenges. Some on Xerophon still wanted Lyra to return to her old life. Some on Earth were suspicious of her alien origins. And Lyra herself sometimes felt torn between two worlds. One evening, Lyra stood on a hill overlooking the town where she had first met Jamie. The sky was filled with stars, stars she had seen many times before, but now they felt different. They felt like home. Jamie joined her quietly. Do you ever miss Xerophon? He asked. Lyra looked up. Sometimes, but I don't miss the loneliness. Jamie smiled. You found something better here? Yes, Lyra said. I found connection. I found love. Jamie took her hand. And I found a whole universe I never knew existed. Together, they dreamed of a future where beings from different planets and cultures could live in peace and friendship. A future where differences were celebrated, not feared. Lyra became more than an heiress. She became a leader of change. She used her position to help others find their own paths, to understand their own feelings, and to build stronger bonds. The people of Xerophon began to see her in a new light. She was no longer just the princess they expected. She was a bridge between worlds, a symbol of hope. And Jamie? He became her partner in every sense. They learned from each other, supported each other, and grew together. Their love was simple, real, and strong. It was a love that changed two worlds forever, and for Lyra, that was the true meaning of satisfaction.